ドジャースがフィリーズとの第2戦に挑み、3対1で勝利となりました。今日の先発は佐々木朗希投手。初回の立ち上がりは連打でピンチを招き失点をしてしまいますが、その後は4回終わりまで完璧な投球を見せ、フィリーズ打線を封じ込めていました。5回の先頭打者リアルミュートに対してかなり際どいフォアボールを出し、ストットにヒットを出したところで降板。終わってみれば4回1失点4奪三振と好投を見せ、現地放送局もこの内容にかなり満足していたようです。試合後のドジャース側の現地放送を翻訳してお届けいたします。
Jerry, but the story was the bullpen with their 5 scoreless innings.
Yeah, our bullpen has been outstanding. Really the theme so far this season, just like last season, our bullpen was outstanding. But Roki, really solid outing, especially after that first inning, got through that first inning, only 1 run surrendered, but he really got through, and then the bullpen once again was great.
Yeah, the bullpen, the scoreless innings was outstanding. The way they come in, they go out there, they're firing, they're getting the job done. But it was really also the bullpen that I think picked up Sasaki as well. You're looking for something positive for Sasaki to have a good outing. He did that. He got ahead of hitters. He did a much better job this outing. Had just only a couple of walks, but he looked like he was in more control. But there was a possibility of it kind of going the other way and kind of maybe feeling like, all right, I didn't get my job done. The bullpen picked him up as well, so that was huge all around.
Yeah, Roki was able to limit the damage in that first inning, allowing just 1 run, and then later Kiké Hernandez gave the Dodgers the lead for good with a 2-run shot. Let's hear from Kiké right now. He's standing by in Philadelphia with Kirsten Watson.
Kiké, in the past, you've had success against Aaron Nola. Tonight, to get things going early in this game, what were you seeing from him to get that swing?
I had a tough night last night, so today I came into the ballpark, I was just trying to slow things down and, start early and slow. And the curveball popped out of the hand and put a good swing, and I didn't swing and miss that time.
Yeah, and able to give some run support for Roki Sasaki. It was obviously a big step for him today. Just what did you see from him, and how was this a big confidence booster for him in his big league career?
Yeah, this was huge for Roki. Barnesy did a great job with him today. He was throwing his fastball for a strike. That was the biggest difference. When he's throwing the fastball for a strike, he starts getting the chase on the split. He did a great job mixing in the slider here and there, and it was a huge outing. That's a great lineup, and he did a really good job with him today.
We go back to that 5th inning, just the double play from Teoscar in right field to get the out to you at first base. Just what kind of play is that? And when you see how the game shifts with the momentum, what would you say just how that game had a big piece of being a factor in this one?
Yeah, that was huge. It went from a game-tying sac fly to inning-ending double play without the runner scoring. So that was huge. I think that was the game right there. And then after that, Michael got the big swing on the homer to give us a little extra breathing room. And pitching did a great job today. Ball was going nowhere. We hit some balls well, but had nothing to show for. And we got the 2 big swings, and the pitching did a great job.
All right, you're correct on that one. The bullpen was excellent in this one. Kiké, congrats on the win, and thank you as always.
Thank you.
Yeah, Kiké Hernandez gave the Dodgers the lead there in the 2nd inning with that home run, Norman. He talked about last night did not have a good night. He went 0 for 3 and punched out 3 times, and so he tried to slow it down a little bit today, and at least he saw some good results very early on in that first at-bat.
Yeah, especially when you have a rough night, a lot of times you're thinking, okay, maybe I have to see one. Maybe I have, but he trusted himself, like, listen, I have the right approach. I have the right mentality. I trust myself to go out there, and he saw the pitch. Ready to hit right when he stepped into the batter's box. So he's able to capitalize on that very first pitch. Instead of going, man, it was really struggle. Do I need to see one? Do I need to wait? Or do I just trust myself to say, listen, I did have a rough night. You chalk that up, but I'm still going to prepare myself. I'm still going to have the confidence to go out there and execute my plan. He got a pitch he can handle, and he put on a great swing and drove it out of the ballpark. That's the right mentality, rather than thinking, okay, I have to wait. What am I doing? Am I chasing? No, sometimes you have those games. Sometimes you have a rough one. Sometimes you have to just come to the ballpark, have a different mindset. It's exactly what he said he did. He came out, and he picked them up.
I love the fact that he bounced back from last night. Sometimes you're just going to have one of those nights where it's just not going to be there. You didn't have many of those nights. Trust me. I've had those. So Kiké Hernandez understood, you know what? It's one of those nights. I'm going to come ready to go. I'm probably going to start again at first base because of Freddie Freeman being on that IL. And I love the fact, and no more touched on it, ready to hit. I don't know if he was sitting on breaking ball the first pitch, but when you're ready to hit, and even if you're looking fastball, you're ready to hit. Sometimes you see the breaking ball out of the hand so good because you're ready to hit, and you holler at it, put us on the board, and gave us a lead for good. 2-1. I think that 2 runs right there allowed Sasaki also to kind of relax. Okay, I gave it the lead that first inning, but right away in the 2nd inning, they get me back, not only tie the ball game, but we have a lead now. that settled Sasaki, and he was able to have a decent start.
Yeah, immediately right after that second inning, third inning, fourth inning, Roki Sasaki looked outstanding. Let's hear from Roki right now because he's talking with Kirsten and the media.
Roki, when you look at this outing, what do you think led to just the success you were having and just attacking the strike zone?
この登板を振り返ってその成功の秘訣っていうかその要因っていうのはありましたか？
そうですね、まずはホーム的に、良くなかったところだったり、コントロールを乱す原因だったところを、探して、自分の中でこう、改善ポイントがあったのでそこをうまく、修正できたかなと思ってます。
I felt like I was able to really work on my mechanical adjustments and everything really came together this outing.
When you reflect on your first two and just even how you said everything came together in this one, what was the biggest just difference for you and when do you think you felt it the most, if it was in a bullpen or even in another game?
その2登板振り返って、今回修正できたっていうポイントっていう中ではいつそういう修正でき始めたんですかねと。
2日前のブルペンの時に、投げてる途中でこうしたらいいんじゃないかっていうのを感覚的に、見つけて、そこからは結構安定してよかったのでこれかなっていうのは思いました。
My bullpen session 2 days ago, I felt like I had something and continued to work on it and just felt right throughout the whole time.
Strikes and fastball, how much of that is like a mentality thing and how much of that is sort of the mechanical stuff that you've been working on between starts?
的にストライクを投げ込むっていうのはそのメンタル的なのかそれともメカニカル的なのか。
技術的なことだと思いますし、技術があってこうなんていうんですかね、メンタルも落ち着くと思いますし、ストライク取りたくても取れない時は取れないので、それは気持ち的なものよりもこうホーム的なものが大きいと思うので、特に前回はストライク取ろうと思ってこう取れなかったので、そういったところでは前回とは気持ち以上にホームが違かったのかなと。
I think it's more mechanical based rather than mindset. I felt like this time around, last time around, I felt like I did want to throw strikes, but I couldn't, and really worked on the mechanical side of the game and felt like I was able to do that today.
What was the mechanical tweak you made that you found in the bullpen?
ブルペンで修正できたポイントっていうのは何だったんですか？
下半身の使い方というか、下半身の意識の仕方ですね。
Just, being able to use my lower half better.
How much better does it set up your splitter when you are able to throw strikes and work from ahead in the count?
ストライク先行になると、スプリットがすごく有効になると思うんですけども、それはすごく、どのぐらい影響しているんですかねと。
そうですね、影響する前にフォークボールのコントロールも、基本的にベースマンの上に行くようになったので、そこに関しては、なんていうんですかね、そもそもフォークボールの、扱いが良くなったところが今日は良かったのかなと思います。
I also feel like it's more about my split command as well, and that I felt a lot better with my command of my split. So I think that helped a lot today.
Is that like difficult last week kind of was for you emotionally or something like that? Like how has the last week sort of been? Like what has this process been like? Just sort of getting your confidence here at the big league level.
2登板ちょっと感情的になるところもあったと思いますけども、この1週間この登板に向けてのその気持ちっていうのはどういう感じでしたか？
そうですね、もちろんこうメンタル的に不安になるところもあったんですけど、ただこう、自分の中ではこう信じられる技術があったら、気持ちは関係ないのかなと思うので、今日に関してはこう、前回のブルペンでこうなんで信じられるこうものを見つけて、今日はただそれをこう信じて投げただけなので、それが見つけられたことが良かったですし、技術あってのメンタルかなとは、改めて思いました。
Yeah, I did go through the week feeling a little anxious, but I was searching for something that I could feel confident about, whether that be some kind of skill base. So what I learned this time was that it's really important to, have confidence based on some kind of adjustment, some kind of skill.
And clearly, Roki Sasaki, Jerry, had been working on those mechanics in between starts. He said he felt like something clicked in a bullpen a couple of days ago, and that today seemed like everything seemed to come together for him for the most part.
Yeah, and here's the thing. There's a lot left in the tank, and he showed what he has. Outstanding stuff. We know the fastball is elite. 95 to 98 miles an hour. When he's getting that over for strikes, that's when you see the chase of the split. If he's not throwing strikes with the fastball or the split, I mean, that pitch right there gave him confidence. But look at the late-breaking forkball slash split. It's violence at the very end. Here, Castellano, it looks like a fastball out of the hands, and this is why you get him a chase because it darts out of the zone. But getting back to when we talked about Sasaki in the pregame show, he had to work on his mechanics, make sure he has a repeat delivery so he can release the ball on time and be able to command the strike zone. Now, the first inning was a little bit of hiccup, but he found his groove in that second inning. Tell you what, he's going to go back and look at the video and say, you know what, there's a lot I can learn from this. And you know what, I could also throw strikes against a very, very good Phillies lineup as well as other big leaguers and command that strike zone. Really good to see.
You know, early on in that first inning, I mean, I thought the Phillies' approach was the way it was supposed to be. Look for the fastball. You can't establish a fastball for a strike, so look for it in your zone. You know, and a lot of times early on, you're going, okay, I'll look for that fastball, maybe middle, maybe a little up, because we know he has a split finger. And when he throws that split finger, if it's down, it's going to be a ball. So I don't have to worry about that. So I don't have to chase it. I can look up, and until he proves that he can throw his pitches for a strike, that's all I have to do. So they did that. They were ready for fastballs early on. We saw Trey Turner do that. You saw early on with Kyle Schwarber getting a fastball too. He got in a count. He wasn't chasing. He was really patient and looking for that fastball he could handle. And then I think that strikeout against Bryce Harper in that first inning was really huge for Sasaki. I think it settled him down, and only just giving up with that one run in that first inning was big. But he started to establish that fastball with a strike, started getting ahead of hitters. He started going out there. Now, all of a sudden, you started seeing the Philly batters start chasing some of those pitches because of that.
This is his third outing that we saw at the big league level. Obviously, Tokyo, we saw it at Dodger Stadium. The strikeouts to Schwarber and Castellano was the first time I said, uh-oh. That's the first time I've seen it. Now, I saw film on him in Japan. And, John, that last start at Dodger Stadium, I told you right away, I go, he doesn't have it. I can just tell. But those pitches he made to Schwarber and Castellano, that's the Sasaki I remember pitching at from Japan. Nasty.
And Nomar, he talked about having split command and how important that is for him because, as you guys know, the split finger, the true split finger, it does look more like a fastball coming out of their hand, right? Where his is that forkball, like Jerry was saying, and it knuckles a lot more. And so they can recognize that. And if he doesn't have command with it, a lot of times you might see them, like the Phillies looked like they were spitting on it anytime they saw it come out of his hand.
Yeah, and then when you, but the other thing, though, too, is when you have a fastball that goes in the upper 90s and you're establishing that, you see those over the middle of the plate, they were ready for that first inning. Schwarber gets a fastball he can handle. Then you see that. Well, now look at that breaking ball right there. I mean, that breaking ball, when it's coming in, there's that fork. But where did it start? It didn't start down. It started in the zone. And that's why you get that swing and miss. And then he comes back and then he challenges that, trusting that, listen, you still can go out there and attack hitters with that fastball, even within the zone. Much better pitch with that fastball. Right there. You see the natural tail we were talking about before the game, and I said you got to go inside out. It has to start there, and it had a light, nice little run to it, and it ended up catching the corner. It ends up missing the barrel. All you have to do is not necessarily always just about swing and miss. It's always about missing a barrel, almost like with a cutter. A cutter's job isn't to get a swing and miss. A cutter is to miss the sweet spot of the barrel, maybe jam it, get off the end of the bat. And his fastball can do that as well when it's starting in the zone and get those rollovers or those miss hits as well. And then all of a sudden you're going, wait a minute, he's throwing a strike down there with a fastball. All of a sudden that forkball starts there as well. You can't take it because you're like, is it going to drop as much? Is it going to be a strike on me? I have to swing.
And here's the difference between a split and a forkball. The split, like you mentioned, John, it looks like a fastball. It's more straight at you and then kind of darts out of the zone. Sometimes you throw the split, but he also gets more violent with it. A forkball, it's more like a knuckling action, and then it just darts out of the zone. And it kind of starts higher, like the one he threw to Bryce Harper and the one he threw to Schwarber. That split he threw to Castellanos, it's different, similar grip, but it's different. But I love that he has those two pitches because as we saw, when it is on, when he's spotting that fastball to go with it, he's tough to deal with.
Certainly a really good outing for Roki Sasaki to build on going forward. Right now, let's head back to the booth, check in one final time with Joe Davis and Eric Karros.
Dodgers win a really entertaining game here over the Phillies. 3-1 the final score. They get some good pitching, couple big swings, and ninth inning that's over like that.
Oh, my goodness, right? You're starting to sweat a little bit, and then 2 pitches later, you're calling a victory. But I think the most important thing for me Sasaki and the way he threw today. You know, the first inning a little shaky, but had the big strikeout of Bryce Harper. And then you go to that third inning. That was a 10-pitch inning, 9 strikes. He was able to establish that fastball early in the count. And just for him, I think he walks out of here saying, all right, I think I may have turned a corner.
That is the biggest deal, big picture today. But, like, how about the bullpen through the first 10 games of this year?
I mean, the bullpen's been absolutely electric. It's been the most used bullpen, but arguably it's been the most effective bullpen as well. And the guys came in, they did the job again this afternoon, and it's been continual. I don't know that we want to see this pace continue, but I like what we've seen so far.
All right, Dodgers and Phillies have split the first 2 games of this series. Tyler Glasnow, Christopher Sanchez, a couple All-Stars from a year ago, face off in the rubber match tomorrow.
It's been a couple of tight, low-scoring games to begin the series in Philadelphia. Another one here on Saturday afternoon. Let's show you what happened at Citizens Bank Park with Roki Sasaki on the mound. 3rd big league start, bottom of the 1st. Trey Turner, after Kyle Schwarber had singled, follows with a base hit of his own.
Obviously, they're looking first pitch right there, fastball. If they get a fastball center cut, they were going to be ready for it. Trey Turner, line drive.
Then Nomar, he gets Bryce Harper with that split.
I mean, this was a huge at-bat. I mean, the Phillies right now had Sasaki on the ropes. You got 2 guys in scoring position, and then you have Bryce Harper up at the plate. You get a ground ball here. Okay, you're okay giving up 1 run, but you have to minimize the damage. We talk about 2-out RBIs. You can't give those up. And here he is on a 3-1 count in the hitter's count, able to get out of it.
Yeah, after those back-to-back singles really settled down in this game. Top 2, 1 out for Max Muncy. Muncy getting something started here with a line shot into the corner.
This is a great sign. Today, it looked like to me he made a conscious effort to shorten up his swing with 2 strikes here. Just putting the ball in play, gets rewarded with a double.
Another look at that swing from Muncy. Part of a good day for him.
And, you know, hopefully it show that's the new Shohei. You didn't see it, maybe we'll see with Kiké right here.
Nomar Kiké Hernandez, first pitch he sees from Aaron Nola, gives the Dodgers the lead.
This is a great job by Kiké. Talked about it, looked like he was ready to hit, probably looking for something on the inner half. They wanted that breaking ball away, but it crept over the middle, the inner half of the plate. He does not miss.
There's the Shohei.
Bottom 2, Sasaki back out there. Bryson Stott up the middle. Mookie on the other side of the bag has it. Quick 1-2-3 inning.
You know, that's important too, especially once you get that lead, you get that shutdown inning, not only to help your offense, but also helps your confidence as a pitcher.
Dodgers had the first 2 on in the top of the 3rd, but Teoscar bounces into a double play.
It's amazing when really good pitchers make their pitches, able to get out of it. Some James.
Michael Conforto put a charge into this one, but that's a deep part of the ballpark.
Remember that swing.
Hot on the track. Bottom of the 3rd, Brandon Marsh. Strikeout victim as well. Good luck with that 85-mile-an-hour tumbler.
I'm just looking at where all his where those pitches are starting. I mean, those pitches are starting in the zone. Wow. Drop there.
See, it looks like a fastball and then darts.
Yep.
I mean, that is absolutely filthy. But like you mentioned, Nomar, he's throwing fastballs for strikes.
Yeah.
So now they got to be ready to be hit.
Bottom of the 4th, it's still 2-1 Dodgers. Bryce Harper on first after a walk, 2 down for Nick Castellanos chasing.
Mercy. I mean, these are really good big league hitters, but that just shows you the talent this kid has.
So it gets through 4. Going to the 5th, he's still on the mound, runner on first after a leadoff walk. Bryson Stott in front of Teo, and the first 2 are aboard for Philadelphia.
5th inning, you're hoping like, okay, maybe he can get out of this inning. That's what you're looking for. You know, that ball was more over the middle of the plate.
Yeah. Maybe go off the end of the bat. I think Tasker thought he barreled that up. Maybe sometimes the lights, you know, they had the lights on too. That can get in the way.
This is a huge play, Nomar. Andy Bonda comes in. Schwarber lines it to right. And Teoscar throws out Stott at first for the double play.
Well, Stott was off on the pitch. I think he was going to, strike out, so they're putting runners in motion. But he lines out and trying to get back to first, and a great job by Teoscar. And they're able to get the out at first before the run crosses home plate.
That's key right there.
Yep. The wrong The run crosses home plate, then you got to appeal to see if he tagged in time.
Yes.
Top of the sixth, one out for Michael Conforto. First pitch he sees, Nomar, your called shot coming through.
He's looked like the Dodger batters had a discussion, say these guys like to get ahead early, so just be ready when you step into the plate. Conforto, he was ready, gets a pitch he can handle, puts another great swing on the ball.
Second great swing of the game for him, but that one leaves the yard. Bottom of the sixth, Ben Casparius to Trey Turner. Good play by Max Muncy.
That is not an easy play. That ball almost ate him up. It also has the strength to gather himself after he plants, and guess who's running down the line? Trey Turner, flying. Great play.
Just in time to get him at first. Stretch from Kiké. Bottom of the seventh, Casparius still out there. First batter he faces is Max Kepler. Casparius gets him.
How big has this guy been ever since him being called up last year? I mean, he can start.
Remember when we saw him, we said we really like him.
Yes.
His mound presence and the stuff he brings.
Gets JT Realmuto to fly to center. Bottom of the eighth, Alex Vesia comes in. Bryson Stotts.
In case you were looking for some energy.
He's got a little bit of that as he goes to the mound.
Really good pitch there. Breaking ball just off the plate. Stott has to swing.
Edmundo Sosa swings through the heater.
Punching tickets.
Next up, Kyle Schwarber. Hits him on a 1-2 pitch.
1-2 pitch. You can see they wanted the fastball, but they wanted that fastball up in a way that just gets away from Vesia. Now you really have to buckle down, and boy, does he.
Nasty. There's that fire, that energy from Vesia. Pumped up after striking out. Trey Turner to end that inning. Bottom of the ninth, Tanner Scott. Boy, talk about making quick work. Although Bryce Harper swings the first pitch, this ball has so much English on it.
This is not on Max at all. This is, I mean, are you kidding me right there? I mean, Max, that's a hit for sure.
And then the next batter swings at the first pitch. Boom, that's a 6-4-3 double play.
Love that right away. One hop, Mookie, outstanding feed, great turn, Tommy Edman. Tailor-made.
So quickly, 2 away on 2 pitches. Max Kepler says, you know what, why don't I just holler at the first pitch too? Hits one to left field that is caught by Conforto.
And he didn't break a sweat, so he can pitch tomorrow.
That's what I was saying. I think he's available tomorrow.
Yes.
Dodgers get the win over the Fightin' Phils, 3-1 the final. They improved to 9-1. Anthony Bonda, how about that? Your major league leader in wins. He's 3-0 out of the pen. Tanner Scott picks up his third save. Roki Sasaki went 4+, allowed 1 run on 3 hits, had 4 strikeouts. Kiké Hernandez 1 for 4. That was his 3rd home run of the year, 2 RBIs. And Max Muncy, a really good day, goes 3 for 4 with a double. Here's what's ahead on the calendar. It's an early start time tomorrow for Getaway Day in Philly. 10:30 first pitch here on Sportsnet LA. Then off to D.C. for a 3-game series against the Nationals. Dodgers will visit the White House before Monday's game. And then next Friday, back home to host the Chicago Cubs on Freddie Freeman's bobblehead night. All of these games right here on Sportsnet LA. No hits today for Teoscar Hernandez, but he did have the defensive play of the game. More reaction coming up. Dodgers improved to 9-1. Here's the Arco top-tier stat line. It's Michael Conforto. His 24th home run, Jerry, in his career against the Phillies. The most he's hit against any team. You see why Nomar called him today.
Yeah, Nomar did do a great job of calling the young MC. He does go big fly. Former Met great Michael Conforto now in Dodger blue where he's meant to be played. Love that he's able to pick on the Phillies once again.
Still loves to swing the bat there in Philadelphia. Conforto hitting the bomb. Let's hear from him right now with Kirsten and the media.
Michael, you had 1 home run, but it seemed like there could have been 2 out there tonight. Just kind of with the swings you were having, how are you feeling just offensively at the plate right now?
I feel great. I feel like I'm in a good place. Like you said, put a couple good swings on the ball. For a second, I didn't think the second one was going to make it out. Stiff wind out there tonight, but it landed in the seats, and it's a good feeling to give us a little bit of breathing room. I told Teo he fired me up right before that with that double play, and sometimes you just need a little, some action like that, and give you some energy at the plate.
With how you guys were able to get to Aaron Nola early in this one, just what was kind of the conversations of you guys going into this one, and how did you see that play out?
A lot of the conversations were just, acknowledging that he's a good pitcher. He switches his looks up. He's kind of evolved, and he uses, certain things in certain scenarios, runners in scoring position, a little different. If he's feeling a pitch on a certain day, he likes, going to what's working, and so we just kind of wanted to hone in on our plan, and it ended up working out today for us. We did enough, and then really I think the story was Roki, throwing great, and the rest of the pitchers coming in, just locking them down. Really cool for Roki to have, kind of started off with 2 hits, and then he just settled in and was just nasty the rest of the way.
How much of a confidence booster is an outing like that for a young pitcher like him?
I would think it's everything, especially in this environment. It's not an easy place to play, and given a little bit of a rocky start at Dodger Stadium, coming out here and just being himself. I hope he feels good, and I sure would if I were him. So we're excited about that.
Just real quickly, how did the wind play a factor, I guess, in the outfield tonight?
I was just knocking stuff down. You saw a couple balls get down in front of some guys, and then some balls that may have just traveled a little bit further. Tommy hit a hard ball. Shohei, Kiké had another one at the end. So just anything close to center field was going to be tough. Yeah.
Carl's Jr. moment of the game, Jerry. First and third, 1 out for the Phillies. Kyle Schwarber lines it to right. Teoscar with a huge play defensively, throwing to first to double up Bryson Stott before the runner scores.
Incredible play by Kiké Hernandez. Really kind of on his back heels, but throws an absolute seed. Albert Bell back in the day would say Bazooka Joe as he's throwing the ball. Outstanding throwing arm from Teo. Love the show chain as well.
Dodgers make all the plays defensively. They got just enough offense to win 3-1. Let's hear from Dave Roberts right now with Kirsten and the media.
Dave, with Roki, you had talked ahead of the game that you felt this was going to be a good one for him. Just from that first inning after those 2 hits, how did he settle in this one?
He settled in nicely. I thought there was a lot more consistent strike throwing with both of his pitches. Got a lot of swing and miss, some soft contact, managed that first inning, and recovered nicely.
Did you see that just his demeanor changed, or just kind of even maybe just the control he had kind of came back to him?
I think so. I thought that as the game went on, he continued to gain confidence and just kept his composure, his poise, and just kept executing pitches. I thought Austin did a great job with him today.
How much do you think he needed to have that kind of an outing?
He needed it. He needed it. He probably won't let on how much he needed it, but to get a major league start, and given how the first couple went, to have some success and leave the game with a lead, I think that was certainly a big positive for him, and also just building block for him, for his next outing.
How much did that go into your mind, taking him out at that point?
That was some of it. I thought that, even up to that point, he pitched a really good ball game. He hadn't gone to the 3rd inning, let alone the 4th inning or the 5th inning up to this point. And so just knowing we had some help behind him, I felt that was a good spot for Banda, and I thought Roki did everything he could and needed to do at that point in time, and just kind of leaving the outing wanting for more. I think that's a good thing for him.
I think he's going through like one splitter behind in the count today. Is that kind of like the template where he can get ahead with the fastball and then kind of let the splitter eat in those spots?
Not necessarily. I think that still to be able to throw that pitch behind the count, to get back into a count, to induce some soft contact, I don't think is a bad thing. But today they were certainly mindful of the split, and he was beating him a little bit with the fastball, which is a good thing. But to his credit, and to his credit, he was throwing it for a strike. And so I just thought that they just used his mix, his fastball split mix really well tonight.
How he handled just this environment, I mean, what does that say to you about him just as you continue to kind of build a relationship and learn more about him?
I think that he's certainly a good competitor, and just kind of seeing how he responded to some adversity. Certainly in an environment like this, against a ball club like this, very talented offense. So he knows that he can do it here on the road. And so I think that's only going to, make him better as he's continuing to, trust his stuff and gain confidence.
What do you think about the play that Teo made to end the fifth and, keep this the one run of the team?
It was a huge play. I think even going back, there was a play that Kiké got back on the ground ball to Edman in the first inning. That was a huge out. But Teo, to make the play, get behind the ball, throw a dime to Kiké at first base, that was a huge double play. Saved the pitch count, finished the inning, ended the inning, minimized the damage and took away that momentum. And so that was a big play from Teo. Yeah, I got one right. No, I just think that Michael's, I just felt that he was in a good place. He's in a very good environment to thrive, and I just like the at-bats. And this was a year that I still believe is going to be his best year ever. So he's consistent. He's doing it. His work is good, and I like what he's doing at the plate.
Even though Roki Sasaki has had so much success in Japan, he came here, and Jerry's talked about him not being a finished product as of yet, so he's going to have these learning curves along the way, some building blocks he's going to have to establish, and today seemed like another one. What did you see?
It really was, and I think it goes back to what we were talking about before the game. We were saying you have to establish the fastball. You have to establish that you can throw a strike with it, and it looked like we mentioned earlier on the Phillies were doing that. Well, we're going to the K-zone, we're going to look. Is he establishing? Here you got a right-handed batter in the second. Man, look at that. Look at the location of that fastball. Catches the corner. Against lefties, catches the corner. He's establishing it right now. Down in the zone. That is critical when you have a split finger that you can establish down in the zone. The reason why, they're going back. Guys are noticing that in the dugout. The Phillies, they're like, he's throwing it for a strike. You get a swing and miss like this on that ball. These are now all starting exactly where those fastballs are going. These are starting off in the strike zone, and the bottom is falling out of it. You get a ground out, you get a swing and miss. Look how far this one, look how much you missed this one by. You swing at that one, the amount of break on that pitch. But as a hitter, we talked about if you cannot throw the fastball for a strike, let alone hit the bottom part of the zone, you have a chance of laying off some of those nasty split fingers, because now you just have to set your sights up and look for it. And if that split finger even doesn't start up there, because that's where you want it, where you might have a chance to hit it. But now if you just lower your sights just a little bit, even to the middle part of the plate, because you were establishing that fastball, now that split finger that's even starting in the middle of the plate can dart down and get the swing and miss.
Fastball command is so important, really, in any level, whether it's high school, college, certainly at the big league level. Once you establish a fastball, and not just throwing it in the middle of the plate, you're throwing it down for a strike. Now the hitter doesn't have as much confidence anymore. Now he has to be on the defense. And then when we get the 2 strikes, they know he's got 97 on the black and down to go along with that split. That's why you see those guys trying to cheat a little bit, and that's why you see those really silly swings. Outstanding job from Roki after that first inning. This is a great building block.
Hey, we had 8 strikeouts today from the Dodgers.
Yes.
That means you can celebrate tomorrow by going to Jack in the Box. Get a free Jumbo Jack with a purchase of a large drink only at LA area restaurants. You know how this game works. They only need 7 strikeouts. Dodgers had 8. Roki carried most of the load. He had 4 of those strikeouts. Alex Vesia, though, huge with 3 punch-outs in relief. Let's head back to Philadelphia right now, because the man who was behind the plate today, Austin Barnes, is with Kirsten and the media.
Austin, when you look at Roki's outing today, obviously you could just see that stuff was in a much better place for him. How much of a confidence booster could an outing like this be for him?
Yeah, I think he'll be fine. I think he needs, like today, he had his feet wet for the first 2 starts. I think he's a little bit more comfortable, maybe away from, LA, all the, what comes with that, but I thought he was throwing his fastball well, and I think that changed from, the other outings.
Robert said that just you've been catching his bullpens and the relationship you two are building. In his last bullpen, was there something that you saw that stood out to about him that kind of led to this outing today?
I think he was just more convicted in his fastball. I think in his bullpens he was working on his getting ahead with the heater. He's got a good fastball. It's it's upper 90s. It's got life on it, and then he gets to that splitter, and his slider's good too. He's mixing some of those pitches in the slider, and I think he's got 3 good weapons. So when he's ahead, he's tough on hitters, especially when they have to respect that splitty.
How important was that? I know it's always important to get ahead of your fastball. Like, how extra important was that for him today, just to build confidence and sort of set up the splitter more so that they couldn't just spit on it like they could early in the game?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think some of those hitters still were spitting on the splitter. So but he threw some good fastballs. He drilled some at the bottom of the zone right through me. I think that's where he needs to be. Just painting with the fastball and getting ahead, putting pressure on those hitters, and making them respect that splitty, because it's one of the it's a crazy pitch. So and there's times where he was mixing the slider in too, and I thought that was a pretty good weapon too. So no, a good start for him. I think later on, I think he'll probably finish that himself. But it was a good outing.
Was there a point early in the game where you could kind of tell that he was on today and a little more mechanically where he'd want to be?
I thought he was in a good headspace. Before we went out there, he told me let's go, and I like to, it was good to see. Just going out there and competing, I felt like he was in a good spot, and he did it. I think he went out there, and they're a tough lineup. They got a lot of good hitters, and I felt like he went out there and he competed.
This environment too is kind of notoriously hostile. Is that something that you prepared for?
Yeah, they're not the nicest fans, but they're good fans though. They're they like the Phillies, and maybe the language is can't understand them, but no, he. Yeah, hostile environment. He went in there and he pitched his game, so that was great to see.
Did he say "let's go" in English?
Yeah, he did. He said, "Come on, let's go." I said, "All right, let's go then." Yeah, I liked it.
How impressive have you been with just the bullpen and the way that group's pitched early on this season?
Yeah, we got a lot of closers that pitch in the 6th, 7th, 8th. Consparius he's real. And then who Vestias just keep doing his thing. And. They shut down that good lineup for a while after Roki came in. Bandit came in some trouble and cleaned it up. And he got a 3-pitch inning in the 9th, so that was good.
We just heard Austin Barnes there, Nomar, talking about the Dodgers bullpen, and they wouldn't be 9-1 to start off the season without the contributions from that bullpen. They've been outstanding, and they were again today.
They've been lights out. They really have. Each and every guy that called upon, they're coming in. We talked about how prepared these guys are, how they come in and they throw strikes as well. Talked about this bullpen in the past. They nicknamed the dogs over there, how they say that with pride. These guys are going to go out there, they're going to fight, and they're going to compete. And even any addition they add to that. Casparius, I know, was there last year, but joined them. But then you have guys like Jack Dreyer who are there as well. Then you got Tanner Scott, Kirby Yates, some other guys that come over here. They understand and know. They start taking on that demeanor. So when we come out of the bullpen, we throw strikes. We attack. We go out there, we pitch with conviction. We believe in our stuff, in our ability. And they've been doing that since the opening day of this season.
It's been so fun to watch. You mentioned the bullpen, Gnomes, that they come in pumping strikes. They are in complete control, understanding I'm going to get strike one. I'm going to use all my pitches. I'm going to pitch with conviction and confidence. They've done that from the start of the season. Really started the second half of last season. Really fun to watch.
Well, and the first guy that came out of the bullpen was Anthony Bonda. He inherited somewhat of a mess from Roki Sasaki, Jerry. And the play of the game for the Dodgers defensively came in that 5th inning, and it ended that inning and kept it a Dodger lead.
Yeah, I think this was really kind of shift the momentum to the Dodgers' favor. We're going to go Access 360 and really break it down. Once again, you have 1st and 3rd, 1 out, understanding the situation. You're going to see Stott break for second base, trying to get in scoring position, trying to pick up a stolen base. Schwarber hits a line drive right to Teoscar Hernandez. Outstanding seed. That's a hardy throw. You see the fire coming out of that baseball, about 98 miles an hour out of his hands. You see Stott take off right there. Anticipate he's about to make a catch, but he's so far off, he's already on his way back to first. He's trying to get back there in time. You see JT tagging from third base, and it is bang, bang right there at first. But JT is about 3/4 down the line. And here's the thing, that is the 3rd out. Because it's the 3rd out, JT, that run does not count. Outstanding job all around. Teoscar Hernandez, great throwing arm, and Kiké Hernandez getting right back to the back to receive that throw from him. Great stretch to have that double play. Those are the little things right there that really change, of course, of the ball game to keep the lead right there. Obviously, the Dodgers were able to tack on another run. great job all around.
Yeah, I think maybe back home, some people might think, well, wait a minute, what if he did cross home plate prior to that third out? But like, isn't that a force out at first base? And how could that run have counted? No, it's not a force out at first base. It's actually kind of like an appeal play, like, oh, he didn't tag, or you're getting the guy that was tagging on the play. So if he had crossed prior to that, then, you know, he would have been safe. But what the Dodgers would have done is then try to appeal to see if he did take off early at third base, and to see, get that technically, if he did take off early, they could have got technically a fourth out. But that's all in the rule book, and it's kind of hair. But just letting you know.
We're talking about 4 outs.
Yeah, possibly 4 outs.
Yes.
It can happen. Tyler Glasnow will get the start in Sunday's series finale in Philadelphia. Looking to build off an incredible outing, Jerry. He went 5 scoreless innings, 8 strikeouts, beating the Braves on Monday. So what are you hoping to see out of Glasnow tomorrow?
Really more of the same right there. You see the 5 innings? I really believe he could have pitched 7 or 8, but they're kind of save his arm. He was outstanding. The 8 punch-outs against a really good Braves team. I know they're struggling a little bit, but great command of all his pitches.
Well, we were talking about he kind of changed his delivery to kind of be more athletic, and, you know, you're wondering, okay, how is that going to translate into the season once you make kind of a little tweak there? Tell you what, it translated really well. He looked athletic, and he looked on.
Dodgers have a chance to win the series tomorrow, Jerry, so it is.
Must win. I'm going to bring the donuts tomorrow, John.
Yes.
Fat-free,
Right.
sugar-free, calorie-free donuts.
They all heard you. For Jerry, Delmar, Kirsten, I'm John. Thanks for watching. We will see you tomorrow, 10 a.m.
佐々木朗希投手、前回は2回でノックアウトでしたが、今回はかなりコントロールも改善していて堂々とマウンドに立てていたんではないでしょうか。本人もかなりフォームの改善、修正に手応えを感じていたようで、これからの活躍に期待ですね。大谷翔平選手は4戦ぶりにノーヒットに終わってしまいましたが、それでも開幕から10試合連続出場、明日はきっと打ってくれると期待しましょう。ブルペン投球も計画性を帯びていて、着々と二刀流復活歩みを進めているように見えますね。皆さんは大谷翔平選手はいつ頃投手復帰すると思いますか？ぜひコメントで予想を教えてくださいね。それでは次回の動画でお会いしましょう。さようなら。